Well, they started out, we had really quite a young defense, and I think that's probably what Bobby worried about initially, is that he didn't have any experience at all. John Marks was in his second year, but hadn't played a lot in the first year, and I think probably that's one reason Bobby got me to come down here. And I think initially I helped them quite a bit, was able to, because they were just green and they just didn't know, and I just had a few years and was able to point a few things out. Right now they're playing so well, I think they're helping me out.
Bart, which of the 3 games this weekend do you think will be the toughest?
Gee, it's been really hard to say. Everybody was telling us how well Fort Worth was playing. They were on a 6-game lossless streak without a loss, and then we were going to beat them 8-0. So it'll very likely be a very tough game in Fort Worth. But I think probably the Omaha game here Friday will be as tough as any, because it's the first game of the 3. Sometimes you're a little bit sluggish, and I would pick that one. Probably it takes maybe a period to get going, and then you see if it does. If they jump on you quick, you might be down a couple of goals in the first period. You don't like to think that way, but sometimes it happens that way. And then again, Tulsa Sunday might not be too easy, but I think everybody pretty well agrees that the Friday night game is usually a little bit tougher to get going and get your momentum up.
Well, I tell you, Jay, like with, Freeman and Steve, and they're really, tremendous guards. And, they've been around for a while, and this is just my second year. And, if I can come off the bench as a 6th man or, come in and shoot a couple 3-pointers or get the team rallying, I'm for it as long as we winning.
What are the mental thoughts that go through your mind when you know you have to shoot a 3-pointer? Do you just put it up, or could you explain it?
Well, really, it's not that much, explains just that, like, when you're behind, that's when, when the pressure's really on, because, if you miss the shot, then wow, there goes, there goes maybe I could have got in closer and got a 2-pointer. But most of the time, like, to me, a 3-pointer, that's just like shooting a 15-footer, because I think I have some range from there. But it's a good, it comes in handy every now and then.
Well, then those back-to-back 3-pointers against the nets, that made you feel real good, didn't it?
Oh, I tell you, it was really great. That we had a big crowd there, and we were behind about 15, and then they went down. They missed a couple of baskets, so we got the 3-point, which gave us 6 points. And the next thing you know, we was down by 9, and I really, felt really great that night.
Well, it helps, when you have a superstar. It's natural ability, but usually it's just dedication. If you start young and have enough fortitude, you can become a good swimmer.
You come from a family of All-American breaststrokers. Are you the 4th All-American? Is this it?
Well, my twin brother and I together are the 3rd and the 4th All-Americans. My 2 older brothers were All-Americans at Michigan State a couple of years ago.
How did you do in the Nationals last year?
Last year I took 9th individually in the 100 breaststroke. Totally a surprise to me. And the relay took 7th I was in.
What are your chances of making the Olympics next year?
They're real slim. I'd have to really do past my potential. It's possible, but I'd really have to have a supreme effort.
You think you will defeat Michigan tomorrow night?
I think we can if everyone pulls together. If we don't have a team unity, a deep feeling inside, it'll really be difficult.
This is a Lola 142 Formula A car. It has 305 Chevrolet engine with Weber carburetors. It's got a top speed on this track about a 165 to 170. I bought it in October, and I've only ran it one time in actual race. I practiced with it a few times, and we went to Victoria with it in January this year and set the track record with it. Won 1st overall and 1st in class.
Is it dangerous driving a car like this?
Well, there's a certain amount of danger to it, but I feel like it's safer than than driving on the highway. Of course, that's an old cliche, but it's true.
What's the purpose of this outfit here, Tim, or can you talk?
Sure. Oh yeah. This is a Nomex hood that, in case of fire, keeps you from burning up. And of course, all the suit, you have underwear, socks, and everything is made out of fireproof material to keep you from catching the fire. And of course, the gloves are the same way. They're Nomex also.
Well, I think the big thing is, of course, that the Consumer Affairs Department does not cost the taxpayers anything. They're able to finance the entire operation really through license fees and fines. And I think not, a second very strong point is that a strong Consumer Affairs Department not only protects consumers, but it also helps honest businessmen.
What would you say to the criticism of some people that possibly your actions in regard to a Consumer Affairs Department in Dallas, that these actions are politically motivated?
Well, I think consumer affairs and consumer interest are something that the city ought to be directly involved in. Say, for instance, if you bought a television set or you bought another item through false advertising, where would you go if you had such a complaint? There's not a spot to go, really. And I think that logically that we'll be involved in this in the city. And I think now's the time to begin to start planning for this area and getting into this area.
Today?
Try out the car mainly and help promote the track.
Elderly people are a tremendous source of tragedy in the fire area in this country. The nursing home problem is enormous. We feel that there should be a greater surveillance of nursing homes, and it's something that should be dealt with very seriously and right away.
You and I may be aware of fire, but how do you educate the elderly and the very young?
Well, one of the big jobs is doing what we're doing right now. We're trying to reach the public through the press, because the American public does not know generally that the fire prevention issue is the main one.
So before we can make any moves, we're going to have to do lots of study. And besides this, if the state does take it over, as the governor has indicated, I feel that we should wait until a special session is held in order to determine exactly what they're going to do, because if we was to instigate it and just keep it 3 months and they take it over after that, it'd be a big waste of taxpayers' dollars. So we certainly don't want to do that until we determine exactly what they are going to do in the special session.
Apparently those studies are already underway. A copy of the contract that would exist between the state of Texas and Dallas County is in the hands of County Auditor George K. Smith for his study. A team of computer experts from Dallas County are in Austin to take a look at the record keeping. Welfare Director Glenn Coker has been ordered to make a study as to how many locations would be needed if the food stamp program went into effect, and how many people would be needed to man those locations. The main thing is now, Dallas County must be prepared to move one way or another, depending upon what the state of Texas does and when. Jerry Park for Channel 8 News on the Move.
Well, we feel that we ought to give these older students an opportunity to try college if they want to. Previously, at UTA, we have never allowed a student to enroll as a freshman unless he took the SAT and the achievement test also. So starting with the fall semester of '72, we're going to allow the student who's 25 years of age to enroll. And we feel like a student that is this old is motivated, at least he knows why he wants to go to school, so we want to give him a chance to try it. And along with this, we're also cutting out the achievement test requirement. Before, we've also always required achievement tests along with the SAT. But we're discontinuing this because this will reduce the cost, for one reason, about $10.50 per test per individual.